Okay, so let's get started. A lot of people on Instagram. So, okay, so muscle confusion theory. I think this came about for a couple of different reasons. One is that people notice when they drastically change their exercise program, they get sore. And the question is, does soreness equal growth? Is that gains? Is that something that we need to go looking for? Do I need to, adjusting my, do we need to go looking for soreness? Of course the answer is no. Soreness has nothing to do with gains. There's never been any evidence that was a thing. In fact, micro tears in muscle are highly associated with soreness. Marathon runners and cyclists have the most micro tears of any type of athlete. They don't build big anything. So why get excited about muscle soreness? I think the other thing was Arnold Schwarzenegger was a big promoter of shocking the muscle into growth. That's not a thing. So we all love Arnold Schwarzenegger. However, that's still not a thing. So what we need to look at is what you're trying to do to the central nervous system when you expose load to the body, whether you lift a weight or even if you're running or something like that. Why does adaptation happen? You give a clear signal to the central nervous system, where the central nervous system makes a determination. We don't have enough of X. Like, we don't have enough bicep. So we're going to work really hard to build more bicep tissue. So to do that, there's certain strategies. And so, like, when you look at what the American College of Sports Medicine has done, and when they put out a position paper, that means they've considered hundreds of studies, potentially, and looked at people testing muscle confusion versus regular standard lifting with an aim towards having a greater output every time. I don't want to call that progressive resistance, because there's another sort of poor use of progressive resistance that we're going to talk about later in another video. But ultimately, whether you bench press X weight for 10 reps and the next workout you can do that same thing for 11 repetitions, you got stronger. That's a greater output. And so that means that you have increased your strength. So grown muscle. So when that happens, especially when sticking to the same program, you're going to have a greater amount of success than if you're just haphazardly doing one thing versus the other. And one of the reasons that might be happening is that focuses you on skill building, except only one time. Because, like, let's say you do a chest workout with push-ups, and then your next thing is all based on flies, and then the next thing is all based on one arm work or cross body work or something like that. You are not really building a skill. You're just haphazardly doing one thing or another, and then you go to something else and you're haphazardly doing that too. And so it ultimately just makes you kind of evenly bad at everything. You're not building any skills out of that, and it's not optimum for muscular growth or performance. Think about, part of the reason the American College of Sports Medicine looked at this was when it comes to athletic training for a very specific purpose, so very elite athletes, you wouldn't take an elite swimmer and say, all right, now what we want you to do is become a great cyclist, because that's really going to help you in the water. Like, nobody would do that. Nobody. So ultimately, if you want to be a better swimmer, you got to swim. And you have to stay focused on what you want. So for what I'm encouraging people to do is be as strong and as lean as possible. Those are two goals that we can get to pretty easily. And by using the right triggers and the right stimuli for the central nervous system. So when you show that's the central nervous system that you have a deficit of bicep tissue or trapezius tissue, and you first go to a fatigue from a myofibril standpoint, then a sarcoplasmic standpoint, meaning first the amount of contractile protein, the actual tissue there, and then the amount of fuel held in the tissue. You ran that all into one experience. Central nervous system doesn't have a choice. We just got to build more traps. That's it. And both stimuli manifest in both types of growth, and the growth can happen very quickly if you really clearly fatigue that musculature. Now, so what else? One of the justifications for like mixing up your workout is when people say they're bored. I hear that from trainers. I want to keep my clients from being bored. Well, to me there's effective and not effective, right? Like, so you wouldn't brush your teeth with your socks because you're really bored of your toothbrush, right? Like, you just wouldn't do that. You use a toothbrush every day. So is it exciting? I don't know. I don't particularly feel like high-fiving a lot of people when I brush my teeth. I, probably feel a little bit better after I do it, but I feel a lot better after I do my X3 workouts. So I apologize if the proper program seems monotonous. It will be monotonous, but you're not doing it for the sake of getting a workout. That's another thing that, man, I just want to throw somebody off a building when somebody says, hey, can you get a workout from that? It's like, what does that even mean? Get a workout. That's the vehicle, not the destination. That's just completely confusing what your objective is, and I think basically foolish. Get a workout. It's to trigger a result, and you're always driving towards triggering that result. So working out is it's not entertainment. The entertainment, the enjoyment is being stronger and leaner everywhere you go, having better posture everywhere you go. That's what you enjoy. And for the people who say, oh, strength training is hard, it hurts, it's just like, suck it up. You don't have a whole lot of time to commit to getting that work in that very brief period of time and pulling those triggers in the body and doing the protocol the right way, and then you just wait for the growth to happen, because it will. So other things, I just want to recap, and I think we're just about good on this subject. I don't want to beat a dead horse here. I did also say the whole like workout of the day thing that CrossFitters do. That's the same kind of like muscle confusion theory, and ultimately like workouts work. Like somebody who does push-ups one day does something else another day. It's not like they're going to get nothing out of it. They just won't get as much out of that as opposed to really sticking with something consistently and applying it and analyzing it and trying to get a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more out of it each time. Then you've got to measure in your head, or if you're writing it down or making a video for yourself so you can critique it later. Like, all those things are with an eye towards progress, not just shuffling the deck and doing some stuff. So workout of the day, yeah, sorry, thumbs down. Wouldn't do it. So when ultimately, I did a podcast yesterday where the interviewer was asking me some questions about like how you're throwing a lot of ideas that are really upsetting to the strength training industry. Well, you know what? The strength training industry, is it really doing that great? When I walk down the street, who looks like they exercise? Nobody. That's who. Basically nobody. So why are people just grabbing a hold of so many of these principles that you can just do a Google Scholar or Medline search on and realize that they're not real? And then on top of that, people are so emotionally tied to these things that obviously aren't working. So why be tied to it?